Well, it's week 4 of the LCS with coverage brought to you by Alienware. I'm joined right now by Niles on the very first day, Friday, to talk a little bit about how things are going with Golden Guardians, their unfortunate loss to C9 just now, and more. So, Niles, let's talk a little bit about that game just now. Obviously, C9 is a team that people have frequently placed at the top of the standings or predictions, so definitely a hurdle, but what do you think caused the loss?
I think that there were a few things that went wrong early, or at least early leading into mid game, especially when me and Ethan were. It was before the third dragon, I believe, and me and Ethan were sitting in our vision and waiting for them to walk in and start a fight. But I think our trio was on a different page than me and Iconic. Sorry, Ethan's Iconic. So we started a fight, and the boys weren't really ready to follow up. And then after that fight, we were kind of too far behind in gold to contest the rest of the game. Yeah, so I think that third dragon fight was pretty much what broke the game. But besides that, I mean, leading up to that, game was whatever. We got a dragon. Gold was relatively even. But yeah, just you can't make those mistakes versus a team like C9.
Well, what has been your experience on Golden Guardians so far? You guys have had some like great games that then just like fall apart in the most dramatic ways at the end. Some really tough ones where you just get stomped. I mean, how are you holding up through sort of the Golden Guardians experience so far?
Yeah, so it's been a little bit tough for me individually. Making the jump from collegiate to LCS and skipping academy is really difficult because you just get punished for a lot of things that you aren't ready for. Especially junglers and top laners work a lot better together to punish you. Like I feel like no matter what in LCS, like every single like in scrims and on stage, like my 1v1 lane state has always been like good. Like I've never been just like getting rolled 1v1, but like when you incorporate junglers, like LCS top laners and junglers work really well together. And so like they set up good plans, and I think that's been what I've been having to work on very quickly, because that's been my biggest problem. Obviously, right? Anyone who watches this game, like it's very obvious. Like I died against, right? And it's just you have to learn very quickly to adapt to that, and like yeah, just skipping academy and not having that learning process, it's just you have to do a lot of learning very quickly. But I think that I am improving really quickly with the Golden Guardian staff. Like I think if you'd ask any of my teammates or any of the staff, like when I first joined Golden Guardians, as to now, like I think there's been a ton of improvement. Like yeah, I think it's been good overall, and I know what I have to work on. So the experience with Golden Guardians has been good. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask too. I'm so glad you brought up the skipping academy because I've seen some people say that perhaps that's actually not setting you up for success. That Golden Guardians perhaps almost being negligent in their decision to skip academy because for you because it can actually do a lot for a player and perhaps actually do more for you long term. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think of sort of that standpoint? Is there any validity to it or any
No, I don't think so. I think it's easy to say that now when it's been like the first 3 weeks of LCS that we've had a sample size. 3 weeks. I think the first 3 weeks will be very different
I mean, there's
from when
also
we get
lock
summer.
in, to be fair.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah, sure. So I guess we'll call it the first month and a half or
Yeah.
so of pro play. I think the first month and a half, like I said, I've been learning a lot, and I think that skipping academy was good because like I don't even know if I'd get punished for these things in academy. Like the skill difference is actually insane. Like people don't realize that like the really good LCS teams and the academy teams, like the skill difference is really nuts, right? So like I think that this has been good for me just because I think by as the weeks roll on, like I'm already getting better at the things I know I need to work on. So I think by the end of the year, I'll have some really good things to show. So I don't think it's been hurtful for me. Like it might seem that way right now, but I'm really confident in the future that it'll be good for the long term.
Now, despite you skipping Academy and obviously being on Gold Guardians, which is more of a development roster right now, I have seen some people accuse you of being cocky, or like you're like a cocky player, cocky guy. Is there any validity to this? Do you think that you are, perhaps a little cocky at times?
No, I think that like when it actually comes down to it, like obviously like I have fun on Twitter, like roses are red, violets are blue, watch out for the I'm gonna top cap you. Like I don't know, it's just like the way I view it is like saying things like that. It's like if you're playing an LCS, it's such a like gift and like good opportunity that like you might as well have some fun with it. Like it's like, yeah, I just view it as like having fun with it. It's not like I'm saying like, oh, Finn, you're so trash, like, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, and I never say stuff like that. I respect like
Right.
all the top laners that are in LCS, you know. So I would just say that I'm not cocky. I'm just having a little fun with it, and I know that I have a lot of things to work on, and I'm probably worse than a lot of top laners. So I'm just trying to work on those things and have a little bit of fun with it along the way.
Well, I also wanted to ask you, there are not too many people who stream frequently in the LCS these days. It used to be a ton, right? But I have noticed actually you streaming a decent amount lately. I don't know. Is this something you've been doing for a while? Did I just notice it recently? I mean, I apologize. I haven't followed your stream for too long, but I'm curious. Like, do you consider streaming a lot to be a big thing for you?
Yeah, no, I think that one thing that especially top laners, I noticed they don't stream at all, like just even solo queue, and like I figured that like there's no really downside. Like I don't usually sometimes most of the time I don't use a microphone or a cam. I just like put my gameplay out there for people to watch if they want to. So yeah, I've been streaming pretty much every single day, at least 5 or 6 days a week. Just because why not? You know, like in playing solo queue, might as well stream a little bit and just do my thing. Yeah, I've been streaming a lot for sure.
You don't think that there's any chance that like the stream or anything distracts you from learning? Because a lot of people will say like, oh, you can't play your best or you can't focus as much on learning if you're also streaming and like thinking about Twitch chat and all that stuff.
I wouldn't say it distracts me just because like the way that I set up my stream, and I make it like very clear, like if people are watching my stream, like I'm not always checking chat, I'm not reading stuff that's going on during the game, you know, like in between queues I'll be talking to people and stuff like that. But in the game I just focus on the gameplay, because that's mostly what my stream is sort of centered around. Yeah, just focusing on gameplay. I would say that some streams, depending on how you run it, can distract, but I would say that mine doesn't.
Very good. Are there any players in the LCS right now that you really have, now that you've played all of them, that you really enjoy laning against, or you're just like, oh my gosh, that person's on another level?
I would say that Impact is really, really good. Like in terms of laning, the times that I've played him, he's always just a beast in the 1v1. You know. Besides that, let me think of all the other ones. I think the one that really stands out to me is Impact so far.
I mean, he's been having a great season, right? So I don't fault you for shouting him out.
Yeah. He's the only one that's like giving me trouble. Like I said, like mentioning earlier, like how they work with the jungler as opposed to like 1v1. I feel like Impact plays just the pure 1v1, like really, really good, and doesn't necessarily need.
It's like when you're laying against him, you know it's going to be stressful, even before the jungler gets there.
Yeah. He just knows his matchups. He knows his stuff, right? Yeah. So yeah.
Well, hey, Niles, I really do appreciate the conversation. Is there anything that you want to say to any of the fans out there?
Just hopefully you can keep cheering for us. I know that it's hard, like seeing our games, but we have like, especially me and Iconic, we're new to the LCS and we're learning a lot every week. So hopefully just keep cheering for us and give us a little bit of time, and I think we'll be a good team.
Well, what's your stream? Because you mentioned that you stream a lot.
Oh, it's just Niles Top.
Very good. Well, thank you again for the interview, and for everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things LCS right here on my YouTube channel. You know, when I walk down the street in a mask, people yell at me and they say, "Is that gaming god Travis Gafford?" And it's always kind of embarrassing, you know. I'm like, I kind of like cover the mask a little bit more, try to duck away, but then eventually a lot of people are all yelling about it. And what people don't know is that I would not be the gaming god that I am today without Alienware. You can check them out in the description, alienware.com/Travis10off. It'll save you 10% off your order. And then maybe you can get people cheering your name randomly on the street. I can't guarantee it. There's no promises, right? Like, this is not like a legally binding. Like, if there's fine print at the bottom, and there's not, because I don't want my editor to spend time doing that. But if there was, it would say that there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. Look, I just don't want any liability around this. So, but alienware.com/Travis, Travis10off. Check the link in the description. Use that code, save 10%, and it'll help me create content like this. The video that you just watched, I mean, specifically, and the other videos on this channel.